Yes. Yippee! It worked. Hello, good morning, Chuck.
Good morning.
Finally, we made it again. Thank you so much
Hey,
for. Yes. Yippee! So good to see you.
it's good to be
And
back.
yeah, exactly. And we would like to talk actually about the Healing Week, the live event in Europe, which is happening now for the third time, again live with you, and which is about being your true self, living your true self. And the question actually in the title of the workshop is, what is that? So, and I've asked myself this question for the last couple of weeks as well, really going into my true self and then what that means for all of us actually. And cheers. So yeah, it's not such an easy question. It might be, but actually, I think it's surrounded about the purpose, which many people ask themselves what their purpose is in life, what for they came to be here, uh, and how to deal with that.
Hmm.
So this
So,
question.
yes, where to start? Being true to yourself. When I was growing up, one of the beautiful things about my father is that a number of times he just looked at me and said, "Son, be true to yourself."
Mhm.
And I used that to find my way through into where I am now.
Okay, wow. Mhm.
Yeah, so there's in being true to yourself, it shows up in different ways. One is that you begin the path to live your purpose.
Mhm.
One of the things that I found as I grew up as a therapist and from a therapist into a healer was that basically every major trauma at some level is an avoidance of your purpose because it scares us that much. And it's usually something you would love to contribute to the earth, leave something behind you as you pass out of this dream, out of this world.
Mhm.
And to it's a contribution that you would love to make and you're scared silly to make it because you are afraid you don't have what it takes. But what if you were to take all of your defects? First little exercise here. Take all of your defects. Can you think of all your defects?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
And then to give them to the goddess or to give them to Christ. So you don't have to start, putting your tongue on this tooth that seems to be loose or sore all the time.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, when you pay attention to defects, you make them real. Now, you think it would be denial not to notice these defects about me. And our partner sure loves it when we notice a defect about ourselves and apologize to them for what we've been doing uh, that we've been hiding from ourselves. Maybe not from them, but definitely from ourselves.
Yeah.
So a sincere apology is worth its weight in gold in a relationship.
Mhm.
And we just bust ourselves. Oopsie, my bad. Sorry. Please forgive me. And then you move forward.
Mhm.
Even if they don't forgive you yet,
Mhm.
a part of you is forgiving yourself. And that's the beginning of everything. The ego's blockade of your next step. It, all of a sudden the blockade melts away. And that's one of the keys of all problems. We're actually afraid to go to the next step. We're afraid we can't handle it.
Yeah. Mhm.
But in A Course in Miracles, it says, remember who walks with you. And if you remember who walks with you, it's like, what's the problem?
None.
And yeah. And in A Course in Miracles says ask yourself that question 100 times a day. Who walks with you?
Mhm.
And your whole life could get easy no matter what the issue you're facing.
Mhm.
one of the things from A Course in Miracles, is this, if you can look into any darkness, if you can look into anything that could be tragic and you see God in it, all of a sudden the miracle occurs. That would be something worth practicing, wouldn't it?
Yes. Definitely.
And in another place, it says, invite Christ into your mind. If you invite Christ into your mind and look through his eyes at anything, his eyes are, love, grace, and forgiveness. He has the eyes of love. And so everything you see a forgiven world, which means an innocent world. And when you see that, it's because there's innocence in you also, looking through Christ's eyes. And to see a forgiven world is to make it a heavenly world. And this world is in its evolution from a death world into a heavenly world. And if you look out at the world, we have our work to do. So because it's just us. So finding yourself, it's different at different levels. An interesting thing is if you find your way to your true self, if you have that commitment to yourself, it also opens up partnership. It opens up ease. It opens up truth. So that's something that leads you forward. And what partnership is, and it reflects in your relationship with your partner. What partnership is a balance of your own masculine and feminine. Mm-hmm. And the extent to which we have that is the extent to which there'll be balance in our relationships. Mm-hmm. But if our masculine side, which usually at this stage is the desire to have our way, to be right, to control, not that any of us would ever have done anything like that. That's just based on fear, lack of confidence. Mm-hmm. There's a significant person that we've separated from. And we're blaming them for the separation. Like, look what you did to me. So there's a part, the thing that's so hidden is that under independence, there's still the victim. The extent to which we're independent, we still believe we're a victim, but we're so independent, nobody's ever going to do that to us again. But we might do that to a few people around us because they deserve it. And we could help them find an enlightened path our way. So, that's the first step. When you find your true self at the next stage, you move from partnership into friendship. Mm-hmm. And you give up untrue loyalties. So you become a true friend. Many years ago, maybe as many 12, 15 years ago, and I was praying, what could help the world? And the voice, I heard the voice. One of the times in my life I heard the voice. It was an actual voice that said, well, we'll heal the world. And it said, an idea. I said, what idea? And it said, an idea that everybody could get behind. And I go, yeah, right. What idea could everybody in the whole world get behind? And it was very clear. Friends helping friends. That we see each other as friends and that we see everyone in the whole world as friends. I mean, what wouldn't you do for your friend? And so there's this desire to enjoy, which is a big thing because most people don't enjoy at all. Could we get personal here a second?
Yes.
So how much did you enjoy your last sexual experience?
So personal. 80%.
Now,
the last one is turned around 20 because I had this issue going.
this issue. But after the sex, how much were you open to enjoy and receive?
80, then 80, yeah.
Yeah, the nature of sex when there's any kind of true connection is that it transforms.
Mhm.
That's why in astrology, sex and death are in the same house.
Mhm.
Le petit mort. So anyhow, basically false things fall away in leadership. You start going for the true thing, which is get the job done and get the team safely home. Both of those equally, masculine, feminine. Get the job done, help the team, make sure everybody stays alive and prospers. Live long and prosper, as we say in Vulcan. So, anyhow, leadership is the desire to help. And in helping someone, you find yourself as you reach out to someone, reaching out is an act of love. So when you help, when you reach out, when you share, basically you're helping yourself. Someplace I read, service heals karma. And service and helping, it puts you in a flow and you feel really good. You feel like your best self.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, yeah.
And most people stop themselves from going forward because they doubt themselves. But let me ask this question: is doubt from your ego or your higher mind?
Or my ego, of course.
Right. So do you think then your ego's your friend if it's always sneaking up and attacking you?
Nah.
Fine.
But
So, but it's like,
friends.
and if your ego, tells you something really dark about yourself, and some of those true in terms of your beliefs, ancient beliefs, but get a second opinion. Go to your higher mind. Say, what do you think about this? I heard a really bad joke the other day.
Yeah, please.
A guy is sitting in the doctor's office and he said, you want the good news or the bad news? And the doctor says, well, you're going to die tomorrow. And the guy goes, that's the good news. What's the bad news? Doctor said, I should have told you yesterday. I I warned you, it was a bad joke. See, in leadership, you get to your essence, so your giftedness comes out, and you're just full of gifts. And a metaphor I like is if you receive one gift, you're offered another gift. More gifts. Oh, yes. And what I found, I think it's also in A Course in Miracles, that behind every problem, behind everything that's dark, there's a gift. And to the extent of the darkness, there's the extent of the gift. And gifts create flow. They make your life easy. They make you feel good. Even if you're not consciously giving the gift, it's become part of you.
Mhm.
And when it fully becomes just a part of you, that's mastery.
Mhm.
But then we get to the purpose. After you're helping all these people, the way is unfolding. Back in the 70s, I worked with people with some very major problems, not yet catastrophic, but very major problems. And as they got through them, they naturally took a giant step toward their purpose.
Mhm.
It's usually the thing that really terrifies us and just excites us to the same extent. But each problem you get through, because each problem, 85% of them, what I found was that they're there to keep you from your purpose.
Mhm. Mhm.
In mastery, your purpose, what you do, what you contribute, and who you are become the same thing. Like the Dalai Lama,
Yeah.
he is in that together state. Who he is his purpose. But you get up to a certain level of evolution like that. But in vision, you're just totally giving yourself to whatever creative path you're in. Might be an art, might be business, it might be, but it's a vision, it's a positive future,
Mhm.
for the world.
Yeah.
So we need visionary politicians.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We need visionary, well, in every regard. If you're being a visionary in your regard, then you'll bring in new and positive, innovative things.
Mhm.
But you don't do it, it's your feminine side.
Mhm.
Because in your masculine side, you give so much into this creative act, into the feminine, into the Shakti part of you, that you become this, but it's your feminine side that receives the inspiration. And then it's your masculine side that brings it out to the world.
Mhm.
But it's like such a total connection there. And you can see how well you're doing with your yin and yang, your masculine and feminine, by how you're doing with your partner. And and there's lessons to learn at every stage. This weekend, I worked with a fellow with cancer. He didn't have cancer, his wife had cancer. And he thought, I'd given it all. I'm just totally burnt out. I'm in sacrifice. I don't know what else I could do. I don't know how to make this woman happy and things like this. And then we began talking, and we talked for a couple of hours about all the things that he could do that he wasn't yet aware of. Simple things on the surface and bigger things
Mhm.
where he could, just be giving his wife, like, wake up. What gift can I give my wife today? Oh, I'll give her patience. I'll give her the gift of patience today. Just because as you give to yourself.
Mhm.
But there's energy, there's gifts inside you. And where there's a problem, the ego tries to teach you that you're the problem. It's first of all, it says somebody else is the problem. They did this to me. Under every single problem, we're blaming somebody. So if you stop blaming them, then the ego says, "Ah, oh, yes, it wasn't them, it was you." And if if you get past that, there's a gift waiting for you. So be persistent. Don't stop. Keep moving toward what it is is true. And then there's a gift, and then there's flow. And then, boy, do gifts feel good. Don't you love opening your presents?
Yeah, of course.
Because as you open presents, you open your presence.
Yeah. Mhm.
And when you open something and find a present, you want to share it.
Mhm.
Mm. So that's everything, especially every illness, is there to prevent you from. Now, it may be a soul lesson also, but it is there to stop you from contributing what you want to contribute.
Mhm.
And it's not necessarily something to do out in the world necessarily, but it is something you do in your mind, like forgiveness.
Mhm.
See, this world is a separated world, and forgiveness is one of the things that joins you with another.
Mhm.
And of course, there's people we have grievances with, people we hate. It's look, I hate them. You can't have hatred without a broken heart, a defeat of some kind.
Mhm.
And you can't have hatred without self-hatred.
Yeah. Mhm.
And so when you get to understand, actually at the bottom of the subconscious, it shows that we set up the whole thing. That's why we have a subconscious, to bury those kinds of things. And we do that as an excuse. Look back at your life. Now you're forward looking, a healing person, but how much of your life was used as an excuse?
80% again.
Mm. So what a master doesn't accuse anyone. It's nobody's fault. Oopsie. If anything, it's oopsie, my bad. And you ask for forgiveness.
Mhm.
Or you ask for forgiveness, you make amends. but who you are makes amends, because it's like when there's that, you're working toward everybody's innocence. And when you have everybody's innocence, you have your innocence, and then you have your value. And then you have your connection with God, with love. I mean, call it what you will, but it's oneness. And that's why they talk about self-realization, because it's the big self, it's the higher self. It's not this little personal self. See, every time we separate, we then, what am I going to do to, I've lost this wonderful feeling. The ego says, I have just the thing for you. Try attachment.
Yeah.
That'll work for you. That'll fill in that hole inside you. Try fusion with somebody that you feel close to. Oh yeah, let them carry you, and you carry them. So this is all the untrue loyalties, and that's all the sacrifice in your life. Betty, who are you trying to save by all the pain and sacrifice in your life? Who are you trying to save?
My mom.
Your mom. Did it work?
Not really, no.
So get your oxygen mask on first, and then you can help everybody else get their oxygen mask on. But, so many people, and even with illness, they're martyring themselves to save someone. Ooh, when there's no need for, why does God need martyrs? He's in oneness, he's in love. He's got, where'd you get that in your mind for? Sacrifice. Like I grew up thinking sacrifice was the way. And I was in so much sacrifice and in so much guilt, because it's a vicious circle. But, I dove into it and found the way through it. That guilt is an illusion. It's a mistake that can be corrected. But we've made a monument to it with guilt, which means we've applied super glue to ourselves and say, okay, I won't go beyond this. So we have, Betty, if I ask you, what year in your life was the biggest year you were wounded?
21.
So when you were 21, how many wounded selves are there?
50,000.
50,000. So now, anytime you're feeling bad, like when was the last time you felt bad? Let's just say last week. Okay. How many of those 50,000 were trying to get loved?
All of them.
At one time. Let me just tell your boyfriend. Good. He'll pray for you. And we don't realize that, though. Here we have this problem, but part of us is grabbing our partner, pulling them inside and going, it's just a mistake. But the separation has caused this world of separation, this world of violence, this world of anger, this world where we blame others for what we're secretly doing. Which is why forgiveness, rebonds, it builds a bridge, it makes enemies into allies. And there's a lot to forgive, and you have these wars going on in the world that are a reflection of our collective unconscious. The world is a reflection of our mind. Okay, now, for some people, they don't have the war in their mind about Gaza, but collectively as humanity, and all of our minds are attached, a whole bunch of us went through that, and this is the poison, this is the cancer coming to the surface. And you could forgive that, or you could even go for a miracle. Want to go for a miracle for Gaza?
Yeah.
Because your anger is anchoring the war in whoever side you pick. It's all you. So if you go to the place where you're one with God, because he's oneness, right? So we're part of oneness. He's in our mind. Okay. And then Christ, who realized he was one with God first. That's why he got the name Christ instead of just Jesus. And so he's inside us, and Kuan Yin, she reached oneness, and Mother Mary, she reached oneness, and Buddha, they're all inside us. So how could you say like you're inadequate? Only when you're separated from yourself. But anyhow, back to oneness with God.
Mhm.
And so you feel that love, you feel that oneness inside you. And then you just extend that out to Gaza and Israel, two parts of our mind that are at war. God bless them. And that is the essence of a miracle. But it needs your connection with God, because you can do some miracles on your own. The mind is that powerful, but you burn yourself out. You use up your energy. Whereas this takes no energy, really. Well, when a miracle comes through, sometimes it can wear you out a little bit, but then your mind gets more feminine. It gets a bigger capacity to receive. So, Betty, getting back to your last sexual experience, what if you went back there and experienced all the fun, all the joy, all the love, all the pleasure? Whoopee! See, this kind of
Away all
stuff.
the issues.
Pardon?
It had blown away all the issues.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just, I mean, people go through a meal, and how much could you remember your last meal?
No.
Yeah.
I was so
So
stressed today.
how much did you enjoy it?
Yeah, no, I was did not enjoy my meal today.
Yeah. And this builds up our doubt, self-doubt, our capacity to be incapacitated.
Mhm.
It builds up against the channel of enjoyment, and we just become a bullet through our lives, which is a good way of describing our independent and untrue masculine side.
Mhm.
But we've all gone through that, and so it's a necessity to balance that off with our feminine side, which receives the reward for what we do and who we are. But if you're a bullet, you're going, you're rushing through your life trying to do your best, but they go, "Who was that masked man?" Just, and it's you.
Yeah. Mhm.
So it's coming back to ourselves. It's finding ourselves. And again, the essence of it is you find yourself in your extension of yourself. Extension is love. Most men get that confused with their little extension, but it's really your heart, just.
Mhm.
So this is what we're going to be working with, and all of the things that hold us back. So, what percentage would you say you're feeling fulfilled in your life?
80 comes up. In my mind, I can't.
Yeah. Do you know how unusual that is?
Yeah.
So what that says is there's a direct correlation for the amount of your fulfillment and how much you're living your purpose.
Mhm.
There's denial and stuff like that we all have, but it's like basically direct correlation there. So here you are, fulfilled 80%. Okay. So what are you scared of?
Life comes up.
Hmm. Hmm. What's the next gift that's ready to be pulled out of the woohoo?
Joy comes up.
And aren't you just the woman to bring it in? Yeah. So what's so scary about joy?
It feels like it can't be, it's not allowed just to be joyful and exploding.
You mean orgasmic?
Okay. Of course.
Orgasmic. God, what would your mother say?
Yeah, my dad.
Oh, girl, go. Yeah, that's my girl.
Yeah, she's happy.
So, but do you think you're meant to be a leader in joy?
Probably.
You think you're meant to be a visionary leader about joy? You remember that movie when Harry met Sally?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Everybody knows that movie and the famous lunch scene where they're talking about the guy's going, nobody's ever faked orgasm with me. And the woman goes, you're kidding. She goes, watch this. And she goes, uh, uh, yeah, and everybody in the restaurant is looking over at her.
I want that.
And the waitress comes up to the people in the booth behind and they go, can I take your order? And the woman says, I want whatever she's having. You become a leader, but you don't become a leader by playing a role or doing your duty. If you do it authentically because you choose it and you gave yourself to it, you will be rewarded. Rules are the same way. You made rules because where you suffered, where you had a broken heart. So you made rules to protect it, but rules are meant to be what?
Broken.
And then when they break, all that original pain is like, oh no, oh no. It's your fault. But it's built on the bones of an old heartbreak. For instance, at 21, there's how many of these thousands? Yeah, 50,000, selves that are wounded. And that means that it all the way goes back to childhood at 3 years old.
Yeah.
How many wounded selves are there at 3?
80,000.
Right. Good luck, Christian. Good luck, boyfriend.
No.
Welcome to relationships. But the more you really enjoy, both of you enjoy each other, even just being together, guys, they're sitting around feeling love, petting, things like this. And then a guy goes, oh, what could be better than this? And he goes, "Meow." And it's a 3-alarm fire going on, for the guy. And then as he realizes, just, help build the fire with your partner. And if you help build the fire, it's easy because there's partnership. But if you get into your 7-alarm fire and burn the house down, well, put your partner in sacrifice. And so you're not celebrating joy together. So it's like, basically, it's all these cut wires in yourself. So can you ask the divine sisterhood, Mother Mary, Esther, Ruth, Mary Magdalene, Kali, Kuan Yin, Dolma, Durga, Lakshmi, all of them, the divine sisterhood, to come in and bring all their angels and go inside you and all these parts of you that suffered and were heartbroken at 21, and to bring divine love into each one of those 50,000. And then to bring them up to your present age, where they'll all help you reconnect with heaven with God, with love, with oneness, help you reconnect with yourself, with your mind, with your heart, and with your body. How does that feel?
Like being like flopping inside of me,
It's like
being
all of a
present.
sudden there's like this click,
Mhm.
and you get, when something clicks into place, like
Yeah.
your boyfriend or anyhow, but it's like when you click into place, it's like you become more yourself and you become more flow, more love. And then the ego says, no, stop that girl. Let's throw 80,000 cells from 3 years old at her. But it's like when a person knows that when their partner is suffering, there's a certain age where they're suffering.
Mhm.
And you can bring in Christ, you can bring in Buddha, because he knows it's all a dream. You can bring in the divine sisterhood, and you can love however many children there are at that age.
Mhm.
And then another age may come up, but welcome to relationships. And one partner will take on, okay, I'll act out the problem. Can you act out, the one who saved me? It's like Shiva and Shakti. It's like bringing that energy together, and it's bringing wholeness. Now, if you connect up with God, that's wholeness, total eternal wholeness. Can't be changed. We all thought we could. That's how we got to this world of separation. So you feel that, okay, and then you just extend that to your partner, and you realize that all that other stuff, that doesn't matter, because we are stepping for a moment out of time and into this love for an eternal moment.
Oh.
And then somehow all the 3-year-olds or 6-year-olds or what, they all find their way to wholeness, because that's our original essence.
Mhm.
We are one with God. We are one with love. And of course, the greatest fear, after there's about 3 steps after the fear of death. Then you get fear of meltdown, fear of having it all, and then fear of God. But that's who we really are. It's like Rumi says, it's like you're not the drop in the ocean, you're the ocean in a drop.
Mhm.
I think that pretty well says it, just, and so we're finding our way back to that self that's still connected, that's still part of God's love, his extension. He didn't make this world of separation. That was our bad idea, because we wanted to be God of our own world. Oopsie.
Yeah.
I guess we had a ways to go, but we can change. We can change that and realize partnership is the answer. It's the way forward, helping each other, because we're brothers and sisters on the way home.
Mhm.
And the extent to which we connect with another, we feel joy. Just like when you see an old friend, your heart leaps, because here's the chance. All the good times come in, all the bad times you got through together, but it's a celebration. But what if we could begin to practice that with everyone around us, even our families, and then our extended families, because we'll take our original family and pin all that stuff on our extended family or our workplace.
Yeah.
How many people have gotten through problems with their boss because they had that problem with their mother or their father? And you can get through that stuff. This world, it's a big video game, and you're learning how to get through all the different problems and take yourself up to a new level, so that whatever you've achieved at the end of your life, that's where you come in your next life.
Way to go.
And how many obstacles have you cleared in this life?
1 trillion.
Good work.
Yeah, thanks to you. Yeah.
Good work. So let me say you had those 50,000 cells that got returned to wholeness.
Mhm.
And that's not the end. There's all these other layers, and there's ancestral layers, and there's layers from past lives, and there's the layers from before we, had a body. And all these are just lessons on the way back home, on the way back to oneness. But Betty, if you were to know, how many major illnesses did you save yourself by healing those 50,000 brokenhearted 21-year-olds?
20,000.
So you would have just been going through illness after illness until one bit your ass and took you down.
Yeah. Mm.
So nice to be saved from those, but there's more to heal.
That's why we are seeing each other in July.
Exactly. And it's a, my contribution is that I found a way early on in the 70s into the subconscious mind. And it was mind-blowing. I wasn't prepared for some of the answers people gave me as I asked questions. So I began to learn about all kinds of things, problems, illnesses, family issues, all of those types of things, abortions, devastating defeats and heartbreaks and illnesses, and to begin to find what's common in all of them and what's the subconscious patterns. And then after about 3 years of that, and by 1975, I was working with issues in the womb that where these mistaken patterns began, even even at conception, given what's going on with parents. But then by 1976, I was popping into the unconscious mind to past lives. And they certainly hadn't prepared me for something like that in graduate school. So later in the early 80s, I was teaching at a holistic health institute, and I was teaching about the dynamics, the psychodynamics of things that lead to illness. And I was also teaching about how relationships can heal that, the power of relationships. Well, I had one of my fellow teachers, who was a psychologist, was teaching about past life therapy and about how that affects illnesses. And I certainly had found that to be true. So, and just the major issues of this life, beginning with our family, carried into relationships, and then the major issues from past lives, and the major issues passed down, like what's passed down ancestrally and what we're bringing in from a soul level meet in this life. Hi, glad to meet you. Or glad to meet you. And that's all metaphor, and it can all be changed in our mind because it's in our mind. As the Buddha said, the world's a dream, and I'm the dreamer. So you don't try to change the world out there unless you're called to do that. That would be part of your purpose. But you mostly heal it in here. You change it in here. Our mind is the problem. But within our mind is also the love of God himself. Or, if you don't like the word God, I remember one lecture I was doing in Germany, and the people start objecting to me using God so much. And I said, God darn it. Just no, but it's like that's it's because we had religion shoved down our throat, and it's that repressiveness. But we can forgive that. We can go beyond that. We can find a new way. We can find the spirituality in every religion, because there are people from every religion who make it to not only enlightenment, but self-realization, the second level of enlightenment. And then they help the whole world. I was told the story of Teresa Newman, who was a nurse, not a nurse, nurse, a nun. And she was getting old and crinkly, and they had a picture of her like that. And the next year, she looked 10 years younger.
Oh,
And the next year, she looked like a young woman. And the next year, she was radiant. It was like light was shining from her. Pretty spectacular. There are everyday saints in every religion. And it's only our ego that wants to say, oh, they don't have a clue. You do that in the first stage of your life, and then you become more understanding and more tolerant. So anyhow, this is some of the stuff we're going to be doing in July, and gonna have fun doing it, I'll tell a lot of jokes, not all of them good, but
it depends.
if you go that deep and that high, you gotta take it yourself lightly. See, the evolution is getting over our attachments. As the Buddha said 2,500 years ago, all pain comes from attachment. That's absolutely true. So underneath any illness, any problem, that we're actually attached to something. There's something we don't want to let go of. And we get really stubborn about it. You can't make me. You can't tell me what to do. I need this. But that keeps the sense of attachment and inadequacy as a vicious circle, as a devil's circle. And that's a spiral downward. Now, there are spirals upward. Like one really, really good one that I love to get you over depression or, something where you're stuck is for 21 days, you get up and you write down all the things you feel grateful for. All the people you feel grateful for, the things in your life you felt grateful for, the people who helped you, that kind of thing. And you just do that for 21 days. And it gradually turns you in the direction of love, that it's all about love. That's what's really going on underneath all of this separation. Because that's the illusion, and that's the painful illusion. And what I found even back in the 70s, if I could get a person to understand why people were acting the way they were, that understanding would allow them to let go of so much of where they were attacking themselves and attacking others. So the biggest problem in the world is self-attack. And we will use everything to it. We'll use other people to attack us. We'll use problems to attack us. We'll use illnesses to attack us. And the thing is, you're God's precious child. You are his light, his love extended. And now we put it in a little package, sometimes little cute packages. But it's just really the reality is we're still all each other. And we can enjoy each other in that sense also. So there's so much I could say, but I've said it.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you so much.
You're so
Pleasure.
welcome.
More with 8 days with you in July. So very looking forward to that.
Inner adventure. I mean, we spend money on all kinds of things, on vacations and stuff like that. And this is just an investment in yourself to find a better way in your life personally.
Big vacation, fun vacation, actually. The lakeside.
Deep vacation.
Thank you, Chuck.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having us. Goodbye.